at all of you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Turtle Celebration Original Movie Panel. Are y'all ready to have a good time?
Yes.
All right, we're going to do things a little bit differently. My name is Ken Scott. I played Raphael the Ninja Turtle. Can I get a cowabunga? Right over here on my right, we have Brian Tochi that played Leonardo. Can I get a cowabunga? We've got Robbie Riss that played Michelangelo. Can I get a cowabunga? We've got the beautiful Judith Hope that played April O'Neil. Can I get a cowabunga? We have the evil Shredder played by Francois Chow. Can I get a cowabunga? And a special guest from the original. Who are you people? Sometimes there's a battle between Ninja Turtle factions.
That's right.
Episode of Black Mirror.
Ah, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cam Clark will be dancing with us today.
Turtle Mirror. Cam Clark, the Leonardo from Leonardo. You're Leonardo, I'm Leonardo. You're Leonardo.
I want to thank you for bringing your lemon pants and you for bringing your frog shirt. You guys, they all got dressed at the Leonardo store. And then, of course, sitting right here with us, the man, the legend, he was Donatello and Kino. Please welcome Ernie Reyes Jr. All right, y'all, welcome to the Church of Ninja Turtles. We're going to do this a little bit differently.
Amen.
Instead of sitting around saying, what was your favorite pizza, what do you want to do with this? We're going to go out of the audience ourselves, and we're going to let you guys ask questions of any of the individuals, or us as a group, or anything you want to do. Judith, yes?
It's all about you.
Well, but can we ask each other questions?
Absolutely, there's no holds barred. One turtle might ask another turtle question. A shredder can ask a Kino question. Kino can ask a Michelangelo question. And the audience can ask anything they want.
Ooh.
You guys ready for this?
Okay.
Ready.
All right, who's got a question out there?
Got a question.
Right over there, on the right.
Right here.
Where? Oh, all right.
We'll start here, then we'll go there.
Go.
So if you
All right, what's this is Rudra. Rudra, that was close. Hi, Rudra.
if you guys were asked to be in a Turtles Forever 2, would you?
In a heartbeat. What do you?
The question is, if we were asked to be in Turtles Forever 2, would we do it?
Oh, well.
No, we hate working. We hate working and we hate paychecks.
Well, how much money are you talking about?
I would do it for free.
I would come out of retirement for that.
I would say yes.
Oh, hell no! All right, Francois, we had a question over here.
Yeah, this is for everybody. Out of all the movies, what was your favorite scene to film?
Okay, everybody answer all at once. Ready, go. Judith, how about you? What if we start with you?
Okay, I would say my favorite, I have two. I'll go fast. The very first one was when we were in the sewer. It was the first time I was waking up, and I had all the turtles and Splinter there for the first time, and working with Kevin Clash who played Splinter was so much fun, and it was also the day that I got to meet Jim Henson for the first time. So that was pretty exciting. I also loved all of the farmhouse stuff because we were now out of the studio. Somebody let the crickets up on our soundstage, so we had non-stop crickets in everything. And doing the stuff at the farmhouse was really fun because it was really about the family. It was about the turtle lore, and that part was super special.
Brian, what about you? What was your favorite thing to film?
Well, and Farmhouse, though, actually, speaking of, you know, in the Farmhouse, it kind of showed the love and the care that the turtles had for one another in April. I mean, I think the Farmhouse really encapsulated that love, that heart that the turtles encompass with each other. So I would say the Farmhouse.
Yo, Robbie.
I didn't film anything necessarily. I just did the voice of Michelangelo, which means I wasn't sweating my nooches off in a Nerf football suit. I was in a very cool, air-conditioned recording studio in Santa Monica, California, asking for another latte. So that, I think, oh, I know my favorite part of shooting it was the latte.
Yeah.
It was Wednesday lattes at the recording studio.
Wednesday latte.
Ernie, what about you? What's one of your favorite scenes, either to remember or shoot?
I mean, the opening sequence to Secret of the Ooze, the mall fight scene. What do you guys think? That was probably my favorite.
Did I mention I study martial arts?
And prior, I said, hey, which one of these lucky ladies gets a ride with me tonight? Does anybody remember that?
Next
Hey,
time,
Ken Scott, how about you? What is your favorite scene?
my favorite scene is when the Shredder gets beat up. I love that scene. No, I have two moments. My favorite scene is being in the first movie. In addition to being inside the Raphael suit, I'm also the fellow chucker that goes against Michelangelo. What does he say, Robbie?
Oh, a fellow chucker, eh?
And then we did, yeah, very good.
That sounds familiar.
We did the nunchucks back and forth, that's one. And then my second favorite scene is the beginning of the first movie when April O'Neil, played by the beautiful June Ho,
Hello.
she gets attacked.
She gets around.
She
that
gets
June
attacked
Ho.
by the foot soldiers in the subway, and Raphael comes running out and rescues April before taking her back to their hideout. So that was my favorite thing to do. What about Francois Chow, Shredder from Secret of the Ooze?
Boo. Evil Shredder.
Shredder stinks.
My favorite scene would be when the Shredder stuntman gets beat up.
All right, Judith, do you have anybody with a question back there?
Oh, I do right here. All right. Dylan, stand up.
All right, this one's going to be a little directed at Judith, but open to everyone on the panel. How do you think that the Ninja Turtles would fare in the HalloweenTown universe?
You know, some of you don't know, one of the big famous scenes that Judith Hogue was in was HalloweenTown.
You know, that's a really good question. I think they do well. I do. There were a lot of crazy creatures in HalloweenTown. And the thing about the turtles is they can kick. But we got kids here. I'm sure all your parents swear. I know I did with my kids. They started swearing very young. I'm not proud of that, but it's just a fact. But they, you know, there was a lot of heart to the turtle universe, and there was also in the HalloweenTown universe. If you were walking around on that set through downtown St. Helens, Oregon, you saw some weird stuff, and those actors who were portraying those characters were living in a really kind of creepy, dooky, parallel universe, and I think the turtles would have fit right in, and vice versa.
Very cool. Brian is walking around over here. Is there a question on this side?
Shredder has a question. Shredder has a question.
Shredder. Okay, we're next.
Robert O'Coffin Radio. I love Ninja Turtles, but I was wondering if you guys remember any of the deleted scenes, because I know they haven't released a lot of that. Is there anything you remember, like, hey, we filmed that, but they never really got a chance to see it?
Oh, the naked scenes?
So the question is, were there any deleted scenes that we can think of that we can tell you guys about? I know one or two. Ern, do you know anything?
No.
Ern don't know shit. Okay.
Mouth is closed.
All right, so there's two things I can think of. One of them that I'm specifically in, it's the when all the foot soldiers invade April O'Neil's apartment after Raphael crashes through the skylight. And so during that scene, Raphael is unconscious. So there's no cause for me to be in a Raphael suit doing any fighting. So I'm actually the fellow chucker ninja. I'm the ninja that swings through the glass. I break through the skylight. I'm the ninja that calls for the battle axes. I go, Bacentos, now!
He's that motherfucking ninja.
Okay? I do all the chopping with the battle axes that separates the floor that they fall through. So we shot this one scene where I actually had lines as a foot soldier. I'm facing against Donatello, and I come in and I go, I'm gonna turn you into turtle soup. But first, I'm gonna shell you like an oyster. And then we fight, and Donatello kicks my butt. I was so excited to shoot this this scene. It got me my SAG card. It's why I'm called Talkative Foot number 2 in the credits. and they cut it totally out of the movie. It's nowhere to be found in there. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? For both of you? How, at the end of the day, obviously, you're in the suits, you know, it's exhausting and everything. How much physical abuse was it? Like, did you leave limping from the set? Were you blacking out once you got home? Like,
We're in therapy. Just kidding. But it was crazy, you know. In the first film, we were filming in North Carolina. It was the middle of summer. It was 100 degrees. It was 100 degrees humidity. My body temperature got up to about 102 degrees every single day for like 4 months. So that's why I'm the way that I am. Okay, so don't hold it against me.
You could only bake Ernie so long and so much.
But it was very hard work. But you knew that when you were doing it, you were part of something special. And I appreciate everybody being here today and supporting us. And
Okay, we have somebody right over here who had a question.
Yes, the question is, sir.
I just want to say thank you guys for being here. I don't really have a question. I'm just a massive fan.
Oh, we love it.
Thank you very much. We love your love. We love love.
Anyways, this question's for Ernie. I know you've done the movie Surf Ninjas. And,
wait, let me hear for Surf Ninjas.
Anyways, would you say that the Surf Ninjas would get along with the Ninja Turtles, in your opinion?
Yeah, 100%. So let me tell you a little story. Do we have time?
Of course.
Yeah, Ernie, we
got time.
We want to hear Surf Ninja Turtle stories.
All right. So, you know, I worked as a kid doing films like The Last Dragon, Red Sonja, Disney's Sidekicks, and then there was a kind of like, that was when I was a kid. And there was a time period where then now I became a teenager and there wasn't really a lot of work. And so Ninja Turtles happened. And mind you, my dream was always to become, to follow in the footsteps, I should say, of people like Bruce Lee. Not people like Bruce Lee, but Bruce Lee, right? There was only one single thing. And I discovered that at a very early age, like about 7, 8 years old. I locked all the way in. And completely like physical, mental, spiritual, through my behavior, through my work ethic, through everyday lifestyle. It was informed by my following the steps of somebody like Bruce Lee. But it was actually Bruce Lee. And I had a father who actually facilitated that process because he had a martial arts school. So I was training every single day. And what was I talking about?
Surf Ninjas, and when they get along with turtles, do you love them?
Yeah, so when Pat Johnson, the stunt coordinator for Ninja Turtles, called me up, prior to being in Hollywood, they were filming the original Karate Kid. And in the original Karate Kid, I'm gonna take my time because it's kind of a slow day today, so I feel like I can just kind of relax and tell a longer story. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes,
absolutely. I'm not in a rush, am I?
No.
Okay, good. This is a long-winded story. So
I'm gonna get
just sit back
comfortable
and relax.
But we're here listening.
Okay.
We're here listening.
So, no, long story short, very short, is that, you know, my dream was about Bruce Lee. In the end, when the time that Ninja Turtles came along, it was all about, to me, Golden Harvest. I had worked as a child actor. I no longer was working. I became a teenager, and then I got an opportunity to do stunts in a movie called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Where I was
Speaking of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Wait a minute!
This is Kevin Eastman, ladies and gentlemen, the creator.
Please welcome the father of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
franchise. This is the man
This is
himself.
a historical event.
I'm here to join this greatest cast and crew
to the greatest turtle movie ever made.
Can we get a cowabunga on that?
All right, this might require...
Yeah, forget my long-winded story. You guys can cry in a Lifetime movie, okay? Now it's about the Ninja Turtles. Kevin Eastman, one more time. Give him a loud applause. Yes.
I have a question for Mr. Eastman. Okay, so you're just sitting there. You and Peter are trying to make each other laugh.
That's great, yep.
What had you been doing just prior to that?
One of the things, I always like to say that back in those days we couldn't even afford drugs. No, one of the things that was great about the collaboration that Peter and I had is we were two big kids. We loved comic books. We had so many heroes like Jack Kirby and people that we wanted to imitate, the guys that we stood on the shoulders of that inspired us to create and want to tell our own stories. And it was my job, especially in those days, because Pete would be watching one of his favorite TV shows like the A-Team or TJ Hooker or one of those kind of things. So I felt it was my job to annoy him as much as possible.
Yeah, like a brother.
Like a brother.
Yeah.
While he was watching one of his favorite shows. And so one night I had this idea. If Bruce Lee was an animal, what would be the stupidest animal Bruce Lee would be? Fast-moving martial artist, slow-moving turtle, and I did the sketch. I put it in my hand. It was Michelangelo before his name Michelangelo, and I put it on Pete's desk and I said, this is going to be the next big thing, ha ha ha, a Ninja Turtle. Well, hilarity ensued. We swapped drawings back and forth. Eventually ended up with a drawing with all four turtles with different weapons and this goofy title, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we just absolutely fell in love with it. It was just one of those things. We just loved the idea. We wanted to come up with a story that told how they became those characters.
All right, so you came and you visited the set in North Carolina in 1989.
Yes.
And as a creator who put things on paper and created this world, to see it come into a visceral real life, can you talk a little bit about like what that experience was like?
It was, I'll tell you.
Contextually, really quick, from the day you drew that cartoon to the day you're on the set, and I'm sure with the cartoon, or the comic you did, and then you had the whole, but how many years was it? 5 years? 4?
Do you believe that? 4 years.
4 years.
4 years from.
That's crazy.
You know, it was insane. It really was. Because we were very lucky in that we did this comic book. We only did the first issue, and it had a beginning, middle, and end. At the end, we killed the Shredder. No, only because we thought there'd never be a second issue. And then the fact that we had a problem is that you guys kept writing and asking us to do a second issue. So Pete and I felt really, grateful that we got to continue this idea of doing comic books. And so we did issue 2 and it sold a little more, issue 3 it sold a little more, and it kept going and going. So in such a short period of time, we had the opportunity to do a cartoon series that, again, thanks to fans like you, much smaller and younger versions.
Your parents.
Your parents bought those toys, bought those, watched them, plugged into the cartoon shows. Anyway, so you guys really kicked it off. So we had an opportunity to do a live-action movie. We were so blessed because actually it was 5 years later, right? Because not only did we find Steve Barron, who was the director,
amazing.
Not only did we find the incredible, and that was thanks to Steve Barron and he brought Jim Henson.
Amazing.
But Steve cast every one of these guys to be voices and the actors, and Ernie. Fortunately, in Secret of the Years, we got Ernie out in front of the camera, but he wore Donatello in movie 1. And I just noticed that the first time when we went to the set, one of the first things I thought is that it's amazing that any movie comes out good ever.
Right.
Because it's like, you look at the cast and the crew, and it's like I was watching Steve Barron sort of in the middle, so it was a night shoot when I first arrived. We sort of walked through this back lot, and you see back of a movie set. It looks like a construction site about ready to fall down. And then you walk around the corner and there's New York City. And there's like, actors and ninjas, stretching, getting ready for a scene. We came around the next corner and there's like all four of our turtles, because we were lucky enough to be part of the process of watching the Henson Creature Shop construct those turtles. They cast you body, built the costumes to fit, so when you move, the muscles move with you. And so I came around this corner, and that's the first time we saw in real life all four turtles in full costume, and I literally almost passed out. Because it was just,
wow.
It was something we could have never imagined in a million years. And that was, you watched we had the amazing Judith Hope, we had Elias Koteas, Casey Jones, it was just one of those things that I just watched it in awe as this whole thing. In July heat,
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wilmington, North Carolina, so what was it, like 100 and...
Yeah, it was like 104 and 90% humidity. 90%. It was crazy.
So I know like those scenes, like, so again, just watching in absolute awe, watching the magic of what's happening, like, you see somebody like Ernie wearing an 80-pound suit, doing backflips and spin kicks. The minute he stops, somebody runs up with his air cooler, shoves it in his mouth like, no, it was a dream, and I think that it's hard to put in words, like something that you create on paper, that you have this idea and you put your heart and soul into it. And we just wrote stories for ourselves, and then to see it be brought to life in the way that it was brought to life with such incredible talent. Again, we all thank Steve Barron for that, because he was
amazing. He was
amazing.
And unsung. And I know that we've talked about this. We would love to see Steve Barron's actual final director's cut. We need it. We don't have it. This is not Steve Barron's director's cut. And also his commentary.
No, you told me this really funny story. I used to live in LA for a short period of time. Well, a long period of time. It felt forever, but a short period of time it was. But I used to go to a comic store all the time called the Golden Apple, and Robin Williams would shop there. We were talking about it once. So when I saw Robin Williams at the premiere, he was like, I love the comics from the first thing, but I saw him at the comic store. And you were working on a movie with him.
Yeah.
Just before you started shooting Turtles.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, he was the one who gave me my street cred. Because I didn't have a television, so I didn't know there was a cartoon. I didn't know about the comics.
Yep.
I was, headlong into trying to get my career going. And it's going. And now I'm doing this movie with Robin Williams, who I was thrilled about, and Fran Drescher, because I was a
Great
huge
movie, Cadillac Man.
Tap fan. And I got Ninja Turtles, and I had to keep running off from New York to fly to North Carolina and start pre-production. And Robin was like, where are you going? Like, we all want to be in the film, and you just keep running off. And I said, I'm doing this movie. And he said, well, what are you doing? Oh, God, I have to say it out loud. Like, it's going to look like, okay, whatever. And at that age, I had so much to prove, and I really cared what other people thought. And I said, well, I'm doing this movie. It's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They went, what? And I said, it's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I said, it's a really good script. It's a really sweet story. And he went, they're making a movie of that? And he had the very first comic. And so he really gave me my street cred. And then I love that you guys got to know each other and became friends.
Yes.
Yeah. Because he's a great guy. A great guy.
He is a great, So I want to learn, have you shared with anybody how you were brought in the movie and what your part in it yet? I just want to make sure that they know how important you guys were to this project.
Yeah, well, everybody knows the different characters that we've played in various ways. Each of us following our own path to get there. Interesting stories that people I'm sure have heard at the table. But certainly pales in comparison to talking with the creator for a second. So the first...
I had a question, actually.
Oh yeah, you
Okay,
do too.
Kevin, the Ninja Turtles, when you came up with Ninja Turtles, they all had red bandanas. They didn't have the orange and the purple and the red and blue. So how did that transition happen? Because it was a brilliant concept to identify them with different colors. So how did that happen?
Great question, and it was Peter Laird is directly responsible for that, but it was when we were doing the original comic book, it was in black and white. So even in the early days, the early printings, we would do them, they would be in black and white, and they'd be like, say, a 2-color cover. So it didn't really matter just because you knew them because of their weapons. And of course, comic book magic, especially with a black and white comic, it'd be like, hey Donatello, or hey. So we made sure that you could hold in their weapons. And so when we started developing the cartoon series and the toys, some of the developers, they were like, well, how do you tell them apart? We go, like, the weapons, duh. And they said, can we come up with some other ways to make them more distinctive and individually unique? And Pete said, well, wouldn't it be great if we did different colored bandanas? And so that's where it really, so it was, Donatello was the purple, sort of the monk of the bow staff weapon, that was sort of pacifist, a nice, peaceful present for that color. Raphael was sort of a raging red Raphael. So we had him as the size and that. And to me, like, Leonardo was more of a samurai, sort of royal blue, sort of regal sort of color. And then Michelangelo, if you ever try to use nunchucks, do not hit yourself in the head. Bless you. Because I tried, even with the rubber ones, it just seemed like a really goofy weapon. But the orange seemed to fit his kind of silly personality.
I thought he just liked Howard Johnson's.
The first issue premiered at Howard Johnson, right? Did you know that? Oh my God, yes, that's really funny. Kidding? See?
Wow. The circle is complete.
Not only is he a genius, he's also intuitive.
Exactly. All right, so I got a movie question. So the first movie comes out, it's dark, it's dangerous, it's like mystical and magical. And then the second movie comes out, and the second movie has a lighter tone. It's a little more of a cartoon come to life, or almost like a Four Stooges kind of adventure in some ways. What was it like for you, and how did that happen? How did they work with you to get from one iteration of the Turtles to a significantly different iteration in the second one?
It's a really good question, because it's like, Peter and I both loved The Secret of the Ooze. I know a lot of fans like The Secret of the Ooze, but to us it was kind of frustrating in that if you read the screenplay, that we also worked with a brilliant writer, Todd Langen, who we...
Brilliant.
Shout out to Todd Langen. Shout out to...
Love you, Todd.
Yes, we love you, Todd. And Todd wrote the final script that was used for the first Turtle movie. He wrote the second script. And it was intended to be more similar in tone to the first movie, something that was for all ages. So it would be a little edgy, a little darkness, but New Line Cinema really pushed for something. They said, well, we feel that there was still a few negative ratings where they said it was a little too dark, a little too edgy, which is something we loved the most about it. The martial arts
and
sequences.
the fact that it was in the top 10 movies, highest grossing movies of 1990.
It was the most successful movie in the history of independent film.
It was amazing.
Was that for you, like, sort of, and I'm gonna let you finish that, but just really quick, like, were you baffled by that?
Well,
because I know that, like, they made so many changes. They got rid of me, they got rid of a bunch of people.
Well, it was really frustrating that we went from a director like Steve Barron, and nothing against Michael Pressman as the director.
He was a TV guy.
Yeah, he was a TV guy. And so they really pushed heavily. They said, they felt that there were some issues with some violence and ratings issues where they would stop using the weapons. So you look at the second movie, like Leonardo would only use his swords to sort of stick them to the ceiling and pull himself up and kick somebody, or Michelangelo with the sausage chucks, some of that stuff. So it was our opinion, and then losing you, it was our opinion that they were fixing something that wasn't broke.
Right.
But they felt, the minute something becomes successful, like the Turtles movie became so successful, to all of our surprise, that they felt like they all wanted to take credit for it, be part of it, feel like they would make it better if they gave some really
good notes.
Good notes.
Good notes to justify their paycheck.
I was trying not to swear.
Oh, I don't
Glad
care.
you saved me.
Francois had something to say about that, because he came into the second movie expecting to what?
I just have to say that it all sucked before I came on board, okay? No. I'm kidding, sort of. No, because I watched the first movie.
He says that with a lot of love.
And I've been doing martial arts for a long time, and I thought, oh man, this is great. All this fighting and all this great martial arts stuff. And then when I got cast for the second movie, I thought, oh man, this is going to be great. I can get to do a lot of fun doing all the stunts and doing the martial arts stuff. And then, I come to see that because they changed it, Shredder just stood around going, hey, get those guys, get that guy. And I didn't do anything except stand around in this cape going, yeah, get those turtles over here.
You were very good at pointing.
Yes, I got to the point where it's like,
With an
hey,
evil look.
hey, 2 fingers, 1 finger, hey, hand.
They're babies! They're babies!
So it was a little disappointing, but it was still a lot of fun. To be part of it was, what can I say?
Well, to us that was very frustrating because I grew up, literally the idea of the first turtle drawing came with my love of Bruce Lee and martial arts film, Jackie Chan. So many things that, when we finally got cable TV, when I lived in a very small town in Maine, and they would do this programming out of Boston where one Saturday morning they would show 2 martial arts movies back to back, and then the next Saturday would be Godzilla movies back to back, and I was like, you couldn't dynamite my butt out of the house on a Saturday for some of that stuff. So when we were so lucky with that first movie, the professionals that came in and did those stunts, Ernie and so many other people.
And
I love your book, by the way. But no, the people that came in and did those stunts, it was no bullshit. It was real. And you guys would lose 5 pounds a night, sweating that at least. Goodness, but no, it worked. It was worked, and that's to me is as a fan of it, that was one of the things I was most proud of, is to see that work and be done that well. And then with the second movie, again, they're babies. Babies.
Okay, I have a question about that some fans may have. In the second movie, they introduced the characters of Tokka and Rahzar, the snapping turtle and the Wolverine. And so many people come up to us all the time and say, well, that's just Bebop and Rocksteady in a different form. And I don't even know the answer to that. Are they related, but there was licensing? Are they unrelated? How are those characters even in the same world?
It was one of those things that at that time in the Turtles universe, we were doing so many cartoon shows and we loved creating new characters. Guys like, Krang and the Neutrinos and the Dimension X, and so we kept doing, Bebop and Rocksteady, and we'd seen a lot of Bebop and Rocksteady in the cartoon series, so when we had a chance to do the second movie, we said, well, let's try to come up with some new and unique characters, and so, hindsight being 2020, I wish we kind of gone with Bebop and Rocksteady, but it was like, let's create a couple of new characters that, so that was sort of just a...
So there was no licensing issue or anything, there was just a choice of making new characters.
Just to come up with some new bad guys.
The traditional pre-fight donut. That's my favorite line in all 3 turtle movies. And it drives me crazy that I'm not the one who said it.
But don't you say, I love being a turtle?
Yeah.
How did you say that?
I think my favorite was the first time we see Kino come on set. Which of you girls is going to ride with me tonight?
Dream on, dweeb.
That was a lot of fun.
Anybody have questions for Kevin?
All right, guys, we got one more. I know they gave us 40 minutes, and I think we've got
I ruined that.
No.
Distracted everything.
We have
we don't get to do this a lot with Kevin.
7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Okay, wait, we got a question right here.
Hey, it's Georgia. Hi, Georgia.
Which one was the most popular?
Raphael.
Michelangelo.
What, the most popular movie or the most popular turtle?
Movie.
What do you guys think? What's most, by your applause, is it number 3? All right, by applause, is it number 2? I guess it's number 2. Number 2 is the most popular movie. So, by applause, is it number 1? Yeah, number 1 for sure.
Yeah.
All you guys who applauded for number 1, I know who you are. I'm coming for you.
Baby.
Right, we have a question in the back.
All right.
He has your home address.
Come on up, bud.
Hi, with the upcoming The Last Ronin movie, do you guys think it should be a spiritual successor to these movies? Because we all want to see Judith back!
All right, so can I run with this one?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, here's how I would like to see it, should it happen, go down. I would like the original cast, of course, for multitudinous reasons. One, because I like working. And secondly, I think it would be the ultimate fan service thing to bring him back for this. Now, the suits, and I say shoot it practical, the technology in 35 years for this kind of stuff, it would probably look ridiculously good. And so these are all things I think would be really great to happen. It's going to be Timothée Chalamet in a motion capture suit in front of a green screen for 2 hours.
With John Cena as Casey Jones.
Wait, then who's going to be April?
You're April.
No,
no matter
you
what.
are.
You're
No.
April.
If we're doing that casting, then it's going to be like, I don't know, Ariana Grande. No, something.
Well, with the Tim Chalamet one, no, I say bring you back.
Well,
and look at it this way: if it's a, April's not 29 anymore.
Oh no,
thing,
April, have you not read the last Ronin?
The last Indiana Jones movie, they made him look like he was, young.
Well, I will say this: I've already started strength training.
Oh yeah! Linda Hamilton, look out. Terminator's got nothing.
Let's bring Ernie back as Splinter.
Yeah!
Oh no, Kino would make
Okay, we got
He's got to be
time
Kino,
for
Private Eye.
one more question.
Kino,
It looks like
Private
right back there, LA.
We got one last.
All right, and then we'll go to Joseph. We'll do
Yeah,
two.
Joseph,
We'll do two.
two questions.
And they're gonna throw us out.
Noah,
Till tomorrow.
who's the first Ninja Turtle was ever made?
Oh, who was the first Ninja Turtle ever made?
Michelangelo. Michelangelo was the first sketch. He gave me Corey's name, Michelangelo. So I did this little doodle again, the Bruce Lee turtle concept. Drew this concept of Michelangelo. Then the second drawing was all 4 of them. So they kind of all born together as Ninja Turtles.
Good question. All right, Joseph, last question. Make it a good one.
This was for Kevin. Do you think in the comics or animation we could see a crossover between the Turtles and Daredevil?
Oh my goodness, that'd be a favorite. It's anybody that doesn't know, I grew up a big comic book fan. One of my favorite comic book characters was Daredevil. And if you know anything about the Turtle origin and Daredevil's origin, which I tell you, Matthew Cox and that whole crew, Vincent, the whole Daredevil series, TV series is just brilliant in every sense. But in the Daredevil series, there's an evil ninja clan called the Hand. We have the foot.
Talk about an homage.
No, what is it? It sounds like a crazy group of podiatrists.
A group of club for podiatrists.
So in Daredevil, one of Daredevil's mentors was a guy named Stick. We have Splinter. And if you see the canister of ooze, if you look at the original Daredevil origin, especially for the comic version, is that there's a truck carrying nuclear waste, which happens a lot apparently through New York City, and this blind man steps off the curb in the path of the truck, and this young Matt Murdock, jumps out to save this person. The truck locks up its brakes, the canister comes loose, hits young Matt Murdock near the eyes, and he becomes Daredevil. In the Daredevil comic, they never said what happened to that canister after it hit Matt Murdock.
Oh, wow.
So you look at the Turtle origin, the canister keeps bouncing down the street.